the world via the internet. This is our first time ever doing so with a live event like this. We've had our video cameras, a little GoPro camera right here in front. We're actually sending our brief camera out to the world. I'm Ed Clark, president and co-founder of Wildlife Center of Virginia, and I'm really happy to welcome you to the dedication ceremony of Wayfair Rearing and Rehabilitation. This project has really been a long time coming. Not quite finished because the weather has not been our friend this year. The heavy rains we had in the spring, we were set back weeks and weeks, and then recently, the weather you all know about, some of the remnants which you see lying around here has slowed us down, but we're about 98% finished, and we will finish up the last two things, getting the last security wires run and get ready. We hope to be able to actually introduce bears into the facility roughly in a week or so. So we don't have any bears in here today, which is the reason we're able to bring you here today and give you a chance to see it. Because once the bears are inside, there will be no human visitation other than staff who absolutely have to be here. Everything else will be through closed circuit or in high resolution video cameras. We'll monitor those. Once we get done, I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to do here this morning. And once we get done, if you'd like to walk up and see the towers and actually look out into the den, I'd like you to do that. We really are pleased and delighted. So before I go further, let me just recognize in general terms some of the folks that are here with us this morning. I'm very pleased and honored to have my friend, Secretary of Natural Resources, Doug Domenech, here representing the governor and the whole Department of Natural Resources. Our friend and colleague in this endeavor, Bob Duncan, the Director of Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, is here. There are a number of folks here from the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. The Department of Corrections is also represented here by several folks, and they are an equal partner in the sense that the labor for construction here was provided with inmates from the Greenville Correctional Facility through a project where we're not only rehabilitating wildlife, we're working with the Department of Corrections to rehabilitate people, and we're very proud of that, and I can tell you that it's been a pleasure to work with them. So, we've got two of our colleagues from the U.S. Forest Service, and they're actually, in the real sense, close, because we're on their property here. This is actually federal land. We are on property owned by the George Washington National Forest, and Kathy Hall, our permanent officer there, has been a colleague since we first put the Wildlife Center here back in 1995. She was only 5 years old at the time, but her kindergarten class came here. Her colleague as well joining us from the Federal Ranger District office. So we've got a lot of folks. Hellstrom and Lee, Dennis Roderfer, my next door neighbor and good friend who's here. They are the company that have really made this all happen by being our project managers, the contractor that took on the project and is still taking on the project. It's become a lot more than it looked like it was going to be on paper. And we're just really delighted with that. There are a couple of other folks that couldn't be here. Dominion Virginia Power, also very prominent players in this by helping with the construction of the towers here. And we've got some very distinguished people in the audience, some of whom have asked not to be personally recognized, but I will tell you that in the audience here today, and you think about who they are, is the individual that actually propelled us forward by making a $100,000 gift to the construction of this facility and said, okay, build it. And, appreciate not only the incredible generosity, but definitely friendship that has marked our relationship for the years. There are a lot of folks here dedicate money, and we'll talk more about that again at this point. Let me at least acknowledge the family of our colleague. Carol, his widow, is here. Rachel, his daughter, daughter is here, and a bunch of grandkids are here. It's a whole plan. I'm not sure who else showed up. Before we go further, let me step off the podium. Trap door through the septic tank here. There's something very profound about that. And let me introduce my friend, Secretary of Natural Resources, Doug Donnelly.
Anthony, get a picture of this.
I'm really excited to be here, part of this ceremony. Long meeting and identified that Amy was preparing the state wildlife plan on a bear. I actually have a bear in my office. Stands probably 5 or 6 feet, and everyone who comes in my office always asks me, "Wow, did you shoot that bear?" And I usually start the answer by saying, "Well, no, my wife and I were camping, and I see their eyes get really big, and then of course I laugh and in fisheries. The bears hold a special place in the mind of humans and Virginia in particular. They sort of capture that outdoor spirit of true wildlife. Obviously, bears were very plentiful when Europeans arrived in Spain over the course of 200 years, and pretty much everyone almost to extinction really do a great job. And so now bears are returning to Virginia. They are growing. The population of Virginia is growing at about 9% a year, which is great. And even though we're actually harvesting quite a few bears, the hunters take about 2,100 bears a year, and we're very happy with that. It keeps the population very healthy. But we're also hitting them in our cars, and we're also having to issue kill permits farmers to take some of these bears. So it is an issue of concern to us. And when we have an adult female bear that is taken and leaves behind a couple of cubs, or if the conservation police officers run into or find an abandoned cub somewhere along the side of the road, that's part of what concerns us. And through the process of developing the bear management plan, we recognized we needed a facility like this in order to have a place to send these bears so they can rehabilitate and be released back into wonderful big parks. So I'm happy to be here today to participate in this event, and congratulate the board and everyone involved in the construction. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bob Duncan, Director of the Department of Game Administration.
Well, again, I'm delighted and I want to congratulate Ed, your staff, the board, and everyone from Kelton Police, Corrections Department, Forest Department, U.S. Forest Service, everyone who had a hand in this. I also want to call out a couple names of our folks, and wait to talk about the department a little later, but I did want to recognize one of our folks who worked with Ed, Dr. Megan Princess, our wildlife veterinarian for the department, and our bear project leader, Jamie Suzeki. Jamie, raise your hand over there. You're not behind. Jamie worked very closely with Ed and his fine staff here to help have input in the design of the facility. This, as Secretary Diamond said, this facility has been long needed, and we're just absolutely thrilled to have it and what it represents and the capacity that it provides all of us to be able to respond to different issues, whether it's bears or maybe some other species at some point. We hope maybe that time never comes. But again, having that capacity is something that we've long wanted, and again, we're just really proud to be here. I will tell you the rest of the story as far as the Secretary of Fair. When the Secretary first came into office, he asked all his agency heads if they had some small memento or something of those agencies to share that with him so he could put it on display proudly in his office. So while he was on a trip one time, we moved this huge life-size bear mount into his office as our contribution to having a small memento present. And I think I'm correct. Even the governor's had his picture made with Doug with that bear. That has
And
become
they
the most.
shut the door. So
They
the
won't shut the
next
door,
day,
right?
when I came to the office and opened the door. Excellent.
Fortunately, Doug has a very, very good sense of humor, or I wouldn't be here today with you. But the bear has been very popular, and it's still making its rounds, I think. But anyway, people go by to see that, and I just wanted to make sure they knew the rest of the story. But I've known Ed since he started his facility in the barn where he used to live up in Weird Cave, and to see this center progress, to see the teaching aspect of what goes on here. This is such a wonderful facility. We're so proud of the Wildlife Center and proud of Ed and all the staff here. We just couldn't have a better conservation partner than we have for the Wildlife Center of Virginia and Farm. So we're really proud. Thank you for being here, being part of the dedication of this facility. But again, it really provides us something that we need as a state agency, and partnerships are what it's all about. So thank all the partners again.
Thank you, Bob. Before we get to the formal dedications, I'll tell you a little bit about the facility, about how it's going to operate, about what's going to go on here, and so you'll understand a little bit about its significance and the amount of thought that's gone into it. And we have had a great deal of input from not only many of the people here today, but people all over North America. Shared ideas with us, shared their experiences with us. Some of them good, some of them not so good. We've learned a lot about how bears get away, and we've tried to include absolutely none of those features here. This facility has been contoured and custom and fitted to the plan. And you'll see things like corners cut off so that we don't have to move trees and cut down trees, and so we can take advantage of the natural contours and make this facility fit for place. And that really is what it's all about. And there really is no one who has been not only more involved, but more of a leader in this project than my colleague, Dr. Dave McBrewer. Dave is our Director of Veterinary Services. And without having given him any advance notice, I'm going to put him on the spot and ask him to give us a short description of the facility, its design, and how we anticipate it. Dave McBrewer.
Well, the design, we had cherry picked from a lot of different organizations, not only rehabilitation sites, but from a lot of zoos in North America and even around the world. And we really tried to take the best features of each one in order to customize to make them to their needs. As you can see, the design is basically we have a perimeter fence around the entire enclosure, and that's to really keep wild bears out, and it's going to be different for people potentially as well. And it also serves to case bears because you go one secondary fence of getting away. But essentially, the main part of the fence here are where the bears are going to be living. We're hoping to stock up to 10 bears per enclosure, and we're hoping to leave at least one of them fallow per year so that the vegetation can grow. The main features that you can see are going to be the major towers up the hill, and those are going to give us opportunities to mount cameras, see some of these bears, to make sure that we can put up lines so we can actually get behaviors of bears in captivity and learn to find out how we can do things even better in the future and share our knowledge that's gained here at Wildlife Center of Virginia with other organizations throughout the world. Each pen shows automatic waterers, water bath, bears to get into, and also insights. So this one here, we're checking that then the bear capture the right on and the end it should and will be in the wild. We're working very, very closely with our partners at the Partnership of Midnight Fish on getting bears into and out of this enclosure. In addition, pens down the bottom are going to be mostly for gathering bears and producing them. This site is going to be used for years and years and years to come, and it's going to help countless bears.
Thank you, Dave. One of the things that it's sometimes hard for me to get my head around is Wildlife Center of Virginia has been here for 31 years, half of my life so far, and it really is an amazing process. And I, as Bob was very grateful for his remarks, I get a lot of credit, but I will have to say that it is not I who deserves the credit. It is a team of professionals and volunteers who work at the Wildlife Center day in and day out, and without acknowledging everybody by name, with all of the staff members of the Wildlife Center, please raise your hands. And this is only part of it. When all of our board members who are here, a couple of our board members are here, please raise your hand. There we go. Here. And our current volunteers, current or past volunteers, raise your hand. All right, we've got a bunch of them. These are the people who do the cooking. I get to lick the spoon and take the credit. And that really is what it boils down to. And it is a privilege and an honor to be a part of this team and to share their work with the world. As we look at this facility, and we will have a chance when we get done here and we do formal ribbon cutting and honor, we will have a chance to invite you to come on up and look at these facilities from the tower and really get a clear view and take pictures, do whatever you'd like. You have to do that. But in planning this facility, one of the things that was clear is that this is not really the start of anything. This is the continuation of something that's been going on for a very long time. Bob mentioned that he and I have been friends since the beginning. And that's been a long time ago. We both had dark hair back then and a lot more of it. So, the solar panels were smaller back then, but it wasn't as fashionable back in the old days. But we recognize that we are not creating a legacy, we are continuing a legacy. And in that regard, we both kind of independently arrived at an idea and suggested it to each other at the same time. And I'd like to ask Bob to pick that up and explain a little bit more.
Thank you again, Ed. When Ed and I both learned of passing and of the dear friend and colleague, Jenny Martin, we have to be able to talk about this very facility. And as Ed said, it was almost instantaneous. They said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And we were both thinking the same thing, that this would be the perfect occasion to recognize Denny and to memorialize Denny's work. Denny Martin started as a biologist for 1976. And he worked with a lot of different species of animals, but none were exposed to that. And he was our very traffic speaker and so we thought to be appropriate. And I'm going to tell one story about Denny. I can think tell us about his work. But before I do, I'd like to ask Carol, the entire Martin family, please go up here and join me and stand with me if you would, please, Carol. We have Carol, Denny's widow, his son Douglas, his daughter Rachel, and their 6 grandchildren. Some of them put their names, but I'm going to let them raise their hand. But we have Claire Landis with us, and her brother Camden. And then we have, come on, K.O. Godfrey, where are you? I'm not missing the crowd. Come up here. And then we have the Godfrey clan. We have Isaiah and Samuel and Rebecca and Andrew. You're right here, okay. Okay, good. Gail Godfrey in the back here. And what a wonderful, we're just so honored to have Carol and the Martin clan here. But I will tell you that Denny Martin, I mean, he worked on fur bears, he worked on upland game birds, he worked on grouse. And Denny was one of these very unique biologists. I've been privileged to work with a number of folks in my 40-year career. And Denny was a very, very special person. He had this propensity to modify equipment. And that's big. I'm trying to be charitable here, but the first thing I saw that Denny ever did was he put a rocket net on the front of a vehicle. And I wasn't sure just how that was going to work out, but that was to capture grouse. He would drive around mountain trails. There was a time when he and I were out looking for grouse, and a group of hang gliders drove their car into the side of our vehicle. That was another story for another time. But Denny loved airplanes. He was a capable pilot. But I was really worried when I heard that the first thing he did when we got an airplane was he cut a hole in the bottom of it. And he did that so he could mount cameras and fly over all of our wildlife management areas to do habitat inventory work. I have no doubt that he had Carol going through and looking at the slides and the pictures, trying to identify all the different types of habitats that we had. Denny was into everything. He was just a wonderful, wonderful person, very generous, kind, never met a stranger. And I know that all of you are so proud of him because I know he was proud of all of you. I will tell you one little story that I think really encapsulates the person that Denny was. He talked about multitasking. This man was born to multitask. He had a bear project going, a river otter project going, and a wild turkey project going. So he was up in the airplane one day with all of his radio telemetry equipment, and he was trying to get locations on all these different species. They weren't all in the same place. I mean, they were all over the place. So he's flying along, and he's picking up, bear 26 over here, and river otter 45 over here on the James. And so he's flying along. He's down close to Roanoke, and he flies over a Forest Service area. And there's some in holdings around the national forest. And he started picking up this signal from a turkey hen radio signal. And we had this wonderful turkey research project. And it is the day before the turkey season opens. The day before the turkey season opens. And we start trying to get a better location. He looks down and he figures out the signal is coming from a house, not from the woods, where it should be coming from. It's coming from the house or close by. So Denny, always thinking, they land the plane at Woodrum Field in Roanoke. He calls two of our officers at the Met office. They pick him up at the airport. They zoom over to Montauk County. Denny's trying to remember, there was a church from the air and the road, and they know they're going to find somebody that's got to explain, why do you have this turkey radio unit at your residence? And so they come flying around the corner. They get to the place. Here's the house. Denny said, that's the place. We got him. And he pulls up, and there's a state game and fish vehicle parked in front of the house. Then he's thinking, somebody got here before we did. And he gets out with his equipment, and it doesn't register from the house. It registers on the car. And there's turns out it's the supervisor's car, and there's a radio telemetry unit, and somebody knocked the magnet off of it, and that's what activates it to send the signal. So anyway, I get this report in my office the next day that says, I learned 3 things today, Bob. I learned just how good our radio tracking equipment is. I learned just how outstanding our officers are at responding to problems. And I learned where my new supervisor lives. You remember that story, Sharon? I learned where my new supervisor lives. He had no idea where his supervisor lived until he tracked him down thanks to a magnet that fell off the tractor. We could stand here and tell you stories about Denny all day long, but he was just the consummate biologist. He and I talked a lot about the need for facilities just as this. Some place where we had the ability to hold animals so they can be restored, they can be healthy, or they can be safely released back into the wild where they belong. And Denny's work that was just an incredible piece of work was his 10-year project called the Cooperative Allegheny Bear Study. And that piece of work, in conjunction with the researchers at Virginia Tech and a lot of other conservation partners, Forest Service included, was just one of the most important pieces of black bear research I think ever done, certainly in the eastern part of the United States and certainly in the Southern Appalachian Mountains. It was just absolutely wonderful. And this was a project where we would capture female sow bears in the summertime and then track them back to their dens and go in. And Denny and his sidekick, Jerry Blank, they would climb these trees, they would cut holes in trees, and a lot of us were privileged to be able to tag along and keep some bear cubs warm by putting them inside our coat until Denny was ready to put them back into the den with their mother bear. And anyway, it was just a remarkable piece of work that trained a number of biologists, some of whom went on to work for Fish and Game agencies, without calling any names. But anyway, it was just, when I think about that project and all of the planning and all that encompassed, I am reminded of all the many qualities of our dear friend and colleague, Denny Martin. So David Whitehurst, the Bureau Director, if you would, David, we've taken this opportunity that we have something we want Carol to take home with her. We have a plaque. Let me just show you this plaque. This picture is probably one of the ones that Denny is most noted for. It's Denny Martin with a bunch of bear cubs where we were working a bear den, as I was describing earlier. And so he's got these cubs climbing all over him. I don't think he's got it quite under control here. But we have 2 of these plaques. one that we want to have here at the Wildlife Center. Will be displayed where folks can see that down at the center. Yeah, thank you, David. And since you won't be coming inside this fence after we leave here today, we'll have this where people can see it when they come from the center itself. And then we want Carol and her family to have one of these plaques. And it has Denny's picture with all these cubs. I think there must be about 5 of them there. In memory of Denny Martin, a wildlife biologist and black bear project leader who dedicated his career 1976 to 2006 to the conservation of Virginia's black bears. This is given by the Wildlife Center of Virginia, and Nick Park and myself, and the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. Carol. This fine group of grandchildren and children, I know how proud he was of each and every one of you as we were. Thank you. So, Carol, would you like to say something? I'll move on this one to the podium.
I trust
Yes,
it.
I got you.
Hold on, it'll hold you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for being here. And I know Denny will be so pleased to see what has happened here. And he worked hard for the department. He was a great person. Thank you very much.
I'd like to have good news to tell us here. Let's see, here we are. Now it's time to get down to the serious stuff. All right, let me let you hold that if you would. Don't drop it, that was fine. All right. Thanks for Rose for being here from the Greater Augusta Chamber of Commerce. And let's see, can you hold that in? Let me get a volunteer to hold the other end. All right. Doug, let me get you in here. Carol, let me get you in here. And you here.
Let Carol help you with this.
We got all get a hand in here. Everybody get a hand in here. All right, and we are going to hereby dedicate, open, and good for this facility.
There you go.
Perseverance is nothing if not what it's all about. All right, now, for those of you who would like to visit, we're going to head right up there. If you're cold and ready to go back inside, please feel free to do so. Dave, will you take the first group up? And if it gets too crowded, we'll send somebody up the other down. All right. And then we're all going to go back inside and have some lunch.
Just in time for honey season.
Just in time. Always able to get it.
You really want it.
Might be a bear.
Take it easy, Ron.
You or you all
You're welcome.
have some stuff from Katie Martin to go back to the meeting. That I have.